Now you gotta time it so we know exactly when the 6 minutes is up and everything.
Okay, it's at 14:20 right now.
14.
Well, we can just not put it on. I mean, yeah, we can cut, in the editing. Here we are.
Oh, it's on. Well,
this part probably won't even be on there.
better not.
We can talk about Joe Biden, but you can talk about yourself. Let's see, what do we want to know about Baird? That'd be a good one.
No, you don't.
No. I'm going to try to explain what we see.
Well, it's fall. We're heading into summer, heading into fall. What are some of the fall activities you'd like to do? You guys like to go orchid picking?
No.
No?
No.
Try something else.
Do you like looking for worms under rocks? I don't know. What do you do in the fall that's different from the rest of the year? Anything?
No, I don't do much of anything.
No, nothing here. But you must have something, because you wouldn't have asked the question.
We usually go for rides in the countryside and look at the foliage and stuff like that. We're planning
You mean day after day?
No, not day after day, because we're busy. In fact, I read in a book last night. There are only 3 things in life. You have to have something to do, someone to love, and something to look forward to.
Something to look forward to, someone to love, and something to do.
All right. So that's
it.
past,
That's
present,
all you have to have in life. What do you think of that?
I think that'll work.
I think it's great.
That reminds me, do you go to church regularly?
Not at all.
Don?
Do I? No,
Yeah.
not at all for the last couple of years.
So it would be fair to say neither one of you are believers?
No.
Yeah, and what? That's right. And what?
I believe you know what I mean when I use the word believer.
Believers?
I think that's probably true.
And what, you mean believe in a God or something like that? Or
All right, let's start with that.
I believe in a God, but I don't believe in a church or related God.
You don't believe that the church is sort of a gatekeeper to the God?
No. Church is a means for punishing people to make them think that punishment will make you better.
Here on earth?
Yeah, here on earth, and it just doesn't appeal to me at all.
How can you be so sure?
How can I be so sure? I don't have to be so sure. Well, I mean, I have to be so sure. Remember, I had this operation, and for 10 minutes I was legally dead, and I don't remember a thing. I went to sleep, and I woke up, and there was nothing in between. And frankly, that's how I think it's going to be. You die, and that's it. You die and be done with it.
But the Creator knew that you were not dead, and he was.
But there is no life.
He was bringing you back.
I don't think there's any life after death and any of that kind of stuff. I think that's a nice way for the churches to hold this fear over people. If you don't do it right here, well, you're going to be punished there. And it's the same kind of thing we use in our society all the time. If you don't do it right, you're going to be published. Well, why don't you just do it right and not worry about where you're going to be punished? People don't do it out of fear. People don't go to work out of fear. People don't not steal out of fear. They just don't ever think of it. It's not something that really appeals to them or they want to do. It's not out of fear, not out of punishment.
Would you say the church has lost that battle? There's not enough people that...
No, I think, look at the religious right. These people are up to their eyeballs in this.
Well, but I mean, that's a segment of society, but it's not as... I was listening to a medievalist professor the other day.
How old was he? Ooh.
Oh, my. 600 years old. And he pointed out that he was talking about 14th century England, and that the church used confession as a means of social control.
Sure.
Because that meant that in every village, at least one person, namely the priest, knew what was going on and had the means to control it. So because you had to come in and confess your sins, so you had to tell him, and by the means of your confession, you brought up in your own consciousness the things you knew you were doing wrong, and therefore you had to once again commit yourself to doing what was right. And of course the church was interested in you doing things like, they were interested in keeping the established order, which meant things like be happy where you are because your future will be very happy. Be happy with your state, so that in fact medieval England was divided up into 3 estates, and you had the serfs, and you had the aristocracy, and then you had the church. And if everybody would just be happy with their state, everything would be fine. And unfortunately there was this peasants' revolt where the peasants, this period of time, thought
They weren't very happy.
they weren't very happy. And their problem was they weren't very happy.
That's right.
All they had to do was to think about it and then be happy. So the church was a very powerful means of social control. But I don't think that's true today.
No, I mean, you?
No, not at all. You know, and
Not enough people believe. If we would all believe, then we'd be back to social control.
And I have to admit that since childhood, ever since the very beginning, I've always thought it doesn't make sense, Christianity as it's presented. And I went to the Methodist Church and then I went to the Episcopal Church, but even as a child, it didn't add up. I mean, I thought the biblical stories were wonderful and I loved reading them, and I could get excited by it. I loved Billy Graham. I loved listening to Billy Graham. I thought that was just a great speaker.
This is when you were 10 years old.
And later.
Oh.
You know, just like I would enjoy listening to Rush Limbaugh now, but I didn't believe what I was hearing.